Holy yapper! Would you believe it? Kirby Air Riders doesn't just look perfect, at this point I think it just might be perfect. In a surprising twist, a second standalone direct for the game got announced and eventually showcased. And holy, was Sakurai hiding surprises. From new modes, new options, new online features, new characters, new amiibo, and even a new story? Surely you think at this point we know everything there is to know. Wrong! While we don't have as many secrets as the last direct, there's still a lot of details they haven't shown directly. So let's take one final preview of Kirby Air Riders. Let's start once again with one of the main appeals, the Riders. This time around, the characters chosen were a little bit more controversial, but all fun nonetheless. Starting with the Master of Trickery, Taranza is here. His passive ability involves throwing string of webs at nearby walls and ceilings for a boost of speed. His special, Spider Ball, has Taranza throwing big web orbs at opponents, slowing them down if it hits them. This move is a combination of Taranza Ball and Taranza Web Hold, both moves from his Team Kirby Clash boss fight and eventually used in Star Allies. The dynamic duo of Lololo and Lalala are here. Because they always come together, their passive ability involves changing between the two with a quick spin. What does that matter for gameplay? I don't know. Their special is cool though. Emerald Framers, where the pair uses their iconic move of throwing grid blocks at enemies, ending with one big block, coming from their many battles over the years. The nefarious leader of the Squeaks, the Roach, is here. Following his sneaky origins, his passive ability involves stealing other people's copy abilities with close range attack. The special is Invisible Dash. The Roach vanishes in a flash and gains a massive speed boost. Even in this form, he can still attack and steal abilities, so watch out. This special is probably inspired by his teleport abilities seen in his boss fight and Star Allies dodge. The small but sturdy Rocky is here. His stone body allows him to tank more attacks and prevent sleeping. The special, Meteor Rocky, involves her friend jumping up to the heavens and then coming crashing down with a big explosion. This one is made up. The animal friend who only looks like a hamster, Rick, is here. Despite being a heavyweight rider, he's a handling master, managing to take turns like any other. His special, Rip-Roaring Rick, it's just the most perfect thing imaginable, so I can't even comment on that. The cute but deadly Scarfy is here. They might look adorable at first, but let them take a little bit too much damage and you'll unleash their terrifying angry form. His special, Flipped Out Scarfy, turns their rage into a fiery rampage. Angry Scarfy is in all of Scarfy's appearances as a form they take when getting hit by Kirby. The hungry manipulator Marks is here. Has great stats but terrible defense. His special, True Form Marks, allows him to fly through the air, trapping any racers he touches in a spiky prison. Both his true form and the thorns come from his Baron Superstar. And finally, the one and only, the second most popular character in the entire franchise, regular Waddle Dee. It has good acceleration and handling. Okay. The special is a bit more cool, turning into Golden Waddle Dee from Squid Squad, becoming invincible and getting a big boost of speed. Including the first 12 racers, that makes a whopping 20 characters to play as, a chunky roster if I do say so myself. I mentioned in the last video, but even with the original 12, it was already far and above the best roster a Kirby spin-off ever had, and these final 8 characters are just a cherry on top. But if you want me to complain, no Adeline, no Elflin, no Medchisters, no Highness, no Broomhatter? Wishful thinking aside, I do believe the biggest complaint I have is the lack of more female representation. It's not a big deal, and if you ask me it's more a problem with the series in general, but characters like Adeline and Ribbon would upset that a bit. Also, Waddle Dee and Scarfy. I know I said I like the weird picks like Starman, and I do like Rocky's inclusion, but these two? Scarfy's in a weird place where he is obscure but also one of the most popular enemies in the series, so it makes sense they're here, but at that point I would like a character that's either more obscure or more popular. And regular Waddle Dee? Are we for real? I get it. Waddle Dee is the second most popular character in the series and sells 10 trillion pieces of merch every week. But we already have Bandana Dee, you know, the character specifically designed to be the representative of the whole Waddle Dee race. In a game where his main defining feature, the bandana, gets removed 90% of the time. So it's weird to have two characters who essentially look the same most of the time in game. There is a slight bit of copium. Putting the new characters into the character selects we can still make up 3 or 4 more extra slots. There is also this line by Sakurai on the Direct, which can be interpreted as there are more characters, but these are the only final ones we will show, or there are more characters, here are the final ones, period. Take that as you will. And if you ask, no, the Japanese version doesn't make it any more clear. We are still not done with the characters just yet. There's still a lot of cool alternate colors to look at thanks once again to the Japanese website. Going in website order, Waddle has a more yellow tone taken from Superstar's enemy palette. Rick's art at first looks to be original. Maybe it could be a reference to Nago with his darker tones around the ears, but it also might be a reference to how Rick looks in Dreamland 2 on a black and white screen. Or sure, get stone sculpture from Superstar on 64. Rockets could be a cute reference to Kirby's stone ability in both the early games and the Smash series, turning into a big, blocky stone, but it can also reference his alternate palettes in Adventure and Amazing Mirror. Scarface's art is a throwback to his original Dreamland art, but it also might be taken from Superstar's Milky Way Witches palette or Hunter Scarface from Return to Dreamland. Lolo and Lala's art originally come from Superstar's Ultra's Revenge of the King version, but the version we see in Air Riders most closely resembles Blood Blast, mainly due to the white gloves and shoes. Mark's art might seem weird at first, but it's actually a reference to real-life jesters who used to dress up with checkerboard patterns, with black and white often used in those type of costumes. I'm not a jester historian, so don't trust me on that one. The Roach art is simpler to understand. It's just Tartar Roach from Squid Squad. And finally, Taransa's art is based on Dark Taransa from Team Kirby Clash, not to be confused with Super Kirby Clash. That game for some reason took out Dark Taransa, so it's cool to see the most obscure of the two Kirby Clashes be represented here. That should be about it. I hope we get to see more alternate colors for all characters. Hey, who knows, perhaps that checklist might give us some hints towards that being a possibility. Okay, now for some real gameplay. Starting with an old friend, Air Ride. We got a lot more information on this mode than what it might seem at first. For one, we got a lot of new abilities and confirmations for the ones we spotted last time. Returning from the original, we got Nido, which seems to be unchanged from the original, Freeze, who actually does freeze opponents in this game instead of just doing damage, and Sleep. It's Sleep, alright. For the new set of abilities, Fighter, which we spotted in some demo footage here and there before, allows you to automatically kick opponents and power ups your quick speed. Drill, which some people correctly guessed thanks to an enemy showing up in the Kirby Melee splash screen, allows you to dig on the ground to dodge attacks just to come back up with a bursting attack. Missile from Amazing Mirror, turning you into, well, a missile, and then the ability early by mashing the special button will result in a big explosion. And finally, a brand new ability, copy ability number 70, or 71 if you count normal like Nintendo does, Flash. Boost dashing allows you to zoom past opponents, stunning them in the process. Let's take a little moment for two fallen soldiers, Tornado and Wing. Ah well, new courses! Aerotopia Ruins. High above the clouds sit the remains of an ancient civilization. Use elevation to your advantage to access secret path. Also, quiz here. Yippee! Crystalline Fissure. A beach filled with crystals. Diving underground will reveal a fiery interior with a giant dragon in it. Stinga's Forge. The stage first shown as part of the Nintendo music tracks. We finally get to see it in action. A mechanical factory filled with tight turns, obstacles, and alternate paths. And finally, the mysterious question mark stage. It's Inside Nova, isn't it? Just be honest, it's Inside Nova. Like, let's be honest, it's Inside Nova. Like, let's stop pretending it's Inside Nova. Like, come on, it's Inside Nova, bro. That makes up a total of 9 stages in total, matching the original 9 stages. Speaking of which, they are back! All stages from the GameCube game are here. They seem to be extremely faithful to their original counterpacks, down to the exact same enemy placements, which that part does worry me a bit. With Wink and Freeze gone, I feel like some stages will be rather empty enemy-wise, and using new abilities on these old courses sounds mad fun. Now well, gotta say, these stages look awesome visually. They nailed the GameCube vibes while still being on par with modern graphical standards. That goes for the whole game overall, really. So in total, that's a whopping 18 stages to play in just air ride mode. Still nothing crazy compared to most car racing games nowadays, but keeping in mind this is only 1 out of 3 modes gives it a pass in my eyes. And aside from that, there's also a lot of different ways to enjoy these tracks, like with the new Swap Relay mode. You choose multiple machines before starting the race, and every lap you are forced to swap to a different machine. With how different every vehicle in this game works, this sounds like a great and fun way to try them all out and notice just how different they all play. Taking multiple paths and using multiple strategies depending on the ride. Great game mode. Returning from the original, there's also Time Attack and Free Run. Time attack is your set laps gauntlet to try to beat your best times, and unlike some other game, you can actually see your lap times. While free run lets you endlessly play the track with no enemies until you are satisfied with your one perfect run. Regardless of which mode you play, every single stage will have at least compiling all your time separated by each machine, perfect for trying to achieve specific times with specific vehicles, something that was required for some achievements in the original, so nice to see that information easily accessible. The only really weird thing is that there are no online rankings. Why? Sakurai mentioned, oh, it's more about a race against yourself or something like that, but being honest here, people will share times amongst themselves online, so why not just add that from the start? Time mode also seems to be returning. While we don't see it anywhere on the air ride mode menus themselves, one of the challenges of the new road trip mode shows something called time mode, and reading the description, that's time mode. As far as we know, that might just be a challenge exclusive, but I'm happy it's represented one way or the other. What is a big deal are all these cool new air ride machines. A lot of these machines were actually spotted in the loading screen of some gameplay footage showcasing Mount Amber Falls. Just pointing it out as a fun fact, but do keep it in mind. Anyways, returning from the original, Formula Star, the highest top speed in the whole game but has downright awful handling. Jet Star gets a huge boost of speed every time it leaps the ground. Wheelie Scooter, being a backtime machine, it can't fly but it makes up with huge jumps and insane handling. Fly Warp Star, only available in City Trail's free run. As its name suggests, it has the best flying stat in the game, perfect for exploring and taking cool photos. And with those, now we have every single machine returning, mixed with other returning air ride courses, and we basically have a full remake in this new game. As for the new machines, the main one highlighted was the Transform Star. By doing a simple quick spin, you can change between star form and bike form. Aside from that one, we got the Hop Star. Doing quick spins will make it jump at will, perfect for shortcuts or avoiding attacks. And finally, the Ball Tank, a tank type machine that doesn't have to worry about being damaged, just keep driving and keep killing. And that's not all, we also got confirmation that the two legendary air ride machines are back. In City Trail, hidden inside red boxes, you can collect 3 pieces of each respective legendary machine to summon them. Dragoon is the master of the air, unrivaled flying abilities, while Hydra is the master of combat, charges boost gauge to the top to go on a rampage. There are actually 2 other machines we haven't seen. Just like in the original, City Trail's free run mode has a garage with every single machine to try out. The difference is, here they are neatly organized. Too neatly organized. There are 2 suspicious looking empty spaces, one between Paper and Hopstar, and another one between Hydra and Fly Warp Star, leading to what we believe is a tease for both a regular machine and a new legendary machine. Later on in the direct, we see a mysterious purple gummy of a machine we haven't seen, only named ? Because it was shown right after the Dragoon machine, some might think this is the new legendary machine, but I disagree. For just a few frames in between the City Trail and Connect menus, we can see they left in something that they probably shouldn't, as you can see default text. Most importantly, it shows a bit more for Mysterious Machine. It looks like some kind of whale machine if you ask me. We also have it in our good friend the loading screen. Because we can see it in the CPU selection screen of top right and the loading screen, both places where only normal machines appear, I'm confident what we are seeing here is the last remaining regular machine. There are also 2 unknown gummies that don't match any other machine we know. This wouldn't make sense since there are only 2 spots in the garage, but at the same time, there are 3 spots in Kirby's iPhone. Yeah, Kirby got a modern phone now. Which is the legendary machine? Why are there conflicting spots? Take all this information as you will. Okay, enough yapping, time for some real shit. I don't care that you don't care cause I care! Top Ride! Top Ride comes back from the original game in a splendid fashion. It's for sure the least favorite of the 3 foremost, so I'm surprised it even made it here, but my god did they do it justice. Just a little refresher, Top Ride is a racing mode similar to Air Ride, but viewed from its top-down perspective. It's a lot more chaotic and random than Air Ride thanks to its many wacky items and compact courses, but learning to drive correctly and take sharp turns is still important. Speaking of those courses, we have 8 tracks to play, all based on regular Air Ride tracks. Those are Flower, based on Florida Fields, a simple track where you need to take advantage of the windmills and rotating floors to gain an advantage. Flow, based on wave flow waters, watch out as the tides would constantly move the objects in your path. Air, based off Airtopia ruins. Giant tornadoes and bouncy cloud platforms will keep you in the air for the most part here. Crystal, based on Crystalline Fissure. It's all about boosts and ramps here, make sure to take proper advantage of them. Steam, based on Steam Gas Forge, giant bumpers, conveyor belts and moving walls will test your timing here. Mountain, based on Mount Amberfold, the biggest map so far. Items will drop from the cable transports. There's also 2 more courses we can see but weren't highlighted. A track based on Siberian Highway, which we know is called Cyber thanks to the Nintendo Music app, seemingly playing with portals and other corrupt cyber hazards. And a track based on Cavernous Corners, which we know thanks to a checklist is called Cave, with minecarts carrying items and Golem throwing giant rocks at riders. There is also one more secret course we can just barely spot the name of in the checklist section. Nova, most likely inspired by that question mark stage in air ride mode. Guess this also doubles as confirmation that stage is Nova? Wow, big reveal. So in the actuality, we have 9 stages to play, matching the 9 from air ride mode. That is a lot of content. But even outside the stages, Top Ride's gameplay has been greatly expanded. The biggest difference is that you can now choose whatever machine and character you want, with the Freestar and Steer Star being demoted to just control options. The physics in general are all taken straight from air ride mode. This means things like flying are now part of the races. Another big change is the addition of capabilities and city trial items like fireworks of Gordos. Adding to all the Top Ride exclusive items, that will make this game more 10 times more chaotic. That's not even mentioning the fact you can now race with up to 8 players. Yeah, good luck little bro. Thankfully, we do have a lot of visual options to help with all the chaos, from different angles, to the camera following you, to a wide view of the whole stage. Some of these options were in the original, but you had to set them before the race started. Now it seems you can toggle them on and off by just using the right stick on the fly, and if you want, you can change the colors to look more like a diorama. Personally speaking, I think it looks ugly as hell, but hey, it's an option! And finally, just like in the air ride mode, time attack and free run are available. Yay! That about wraps up Top Ride. So let's real quick look at our third mode before we get to the big new one. City Trial didn't get as many new additions compared to last direct, but we did get some sweet stuff. The biggest addition was the inclusion of a new game mode, Team Battles. You can divide the players into 2 teams and fight for glory. The team with the most points in total after the stadium being declared the winner. This is a very interesting mode. Excited to see how much strategy changes with this one. We already know that the legendary machine pieces are shared between the team, so what other team exclusive interactions might be hiding? Please let there be a toggle for friendly fire like in Smash. That would make for so many funny clips. Aside from that one, the other big game mode is Free Run. Just like in the original game, you get access unlimited time to explore the map as much as you want, and like I mentioned before, you got a full gallery of machines for you to enjoy. Mix it with the ability to draw fun contrails and an incredible photo mode, and you can easily sink hours just messing around. And speaking about that photo mode, it's more in depth than you might think at first. You got your usual zooms and silly borders, but you also get what appears to be a depth of field toggle and even a frame by frame option. Guess we're labbing Air Rider's frame data now. Finally, we also got new items, stadiums, and events. So, thanks to the last direct and some demo gameplay, I compiled a total of 19 events, which are these. Since that video, there was also one more in the demo build. Boxes are raining somewhere. With that refresher out of the way, a locked treasure chest appears somewhere. Collect the key to open it. Grand Willy is roaring down the road. Notably, it's using its Nightmare in Dreamland and Superstar Ultra design with the yellow eyeshadow, compared to Triple Deluxe's more mechanical design. Reward rings appear. Pass through them for a random set of items. Everyone riding a UFO. It seems you can charge the attack for multiple types of shot, similar to the UFO ability from games like Adventure. A wild legendary machine appeared. You might be able to catch them and get a free legendary machine. Insane game changer if true. The battleship halberds on the attack. Managing to reach its deck will reward you with lots of power-ups and even some machines. That's now 26 events, a whopping 11 more than the original City Trial. Damn! At this point, no match will feel boring with all these events happening. As for the stadiums, not only we got the confirmation that the standalone stadium mode is coming back, where we can play any events we want at any time, but we also got a good look at the menu for enabling or disabling specific stadium events. And with it, we also got some soft confirmation to how many variations some events have. Keep It Melee has 2, Drag Race has 4, Dubstep Derby has 5, and Target Flights has 3? There are new stadium events as well. Button Rush, a battle to see who can maintain control over the most switches. You can be evil and steal buttons from other players as well. There are 2 variations, one taking place in the city like Gorman Race, and one taking place in the second Kirby Melee arena. Returning from the original is High Jump, Tilt down and try to jump as high as possible. Big battle. A duel to the death where you must collect grow pills to crush your opponents. From what I can tell, there are 3 variations. One variation takes place in the flower field around the windmill, one in a beach type arena, another one in a coliseum type arena. Rail Panic. A race all about quickly changing between rails and boosts. Beam Gauntlet. A race about avoiding lasers. It has 2 variations as seen in the checklist unlockables. And the final event, Versus Boss. Unlike the original Versus DDD, we got multiple bosses this time, with the main one highlighted being Robo DDD. Like in the original game, this stadium is essentially a raid boss, with every player working together to defeat the enemy or die trying. Robo DDD here will transfer between his DDD mode to attack with the hammer and giant laser, and his current form, where he will roam around the arena dropping spike balls and landmines. Because this is such a glow up from Versus DDD, it even comes with its own targeting system and top right style movement. Bosses are one of the most iconic parts of Kirby, so it's beyond exciting they managed to recreate that same experience in a kart racer of all things. And it's not going to be the only one. We got a little tease of Nightmare Orb from Adventure, and most shockingly, Zero 2 from Kirby 64. Those might not even be the only bosses, as we can see in the road trip mode a little cutscene for Mysterious Shadow Rider in the same arena that we fought DDD in the first game. Maybe after we defeat them in the story mode, we might unlock them to play in the stadium? Wait, did I mention a story mode? Oh yes, I did. What at first seems like a cool side mode with fun activities is actually later revealed to be indeed our story mode. I'll leave the actual story part for later, as I only want to focus on the raw gameplay now. It's a roguelike mission mode, classic mode mix. You'll be set on a linear path with the option to choose your challenge each level. What challenges you take on will matter, as they each give you specific stat upgrades depending on what you choose. So sometimes it might be worth to risk a challenge you aren't particularly good at just for the stats. Sometimes you won't even choose a challenge at all. You can also find things like machines and shops along the way. It's worth noting you can see what events are going to happen and when by looking at the bottom left of your screen. That way you can plan accordingly. There are also a lot of Kirby characters and objects you will be meeting in your journey, and picking them will also drastically change how your path goes. And holy, these characters are fan service heaven. We got obscure bosses like Magman from Kirby 64 and King Golem from Amazing Mirror, to recognizable characters like Poppy Bros Jr. and L-Line from Rainbow Curse. Oh my god, how much I miss you, Oomphy! Aside from the ones that the direct clearly highlighted, the only sneaky character I could find is Fatty Well. He shows up as a profile picture of one of the players later on, and seeing how it's been drawn in the same style as the other road trip friends, I believe he will show up there. As for how long one single run will take, I bet a while. Referring back to the bottom left indicator, we can also see in which stage we are, with us completing the whole line counting as a single stage. One of the shots shows Kirby on stage 8, that seems like it would take a hot minute to complete. A just that will be a nice in between of both every run feeling meaty, while also not feeling very overwhelming. Overall, I think this mode looks fantastic. It's just the thing air riders need. Love the original all you want, but let's not deny it. It did horribly for reviewers. And I feel like a big part of that was the lack of a reason to keep playing. Something like Mario Kart you can quote unquote beat by finishing all the cups and rolling the credits. But Air Ride had nothing like that. So after just going through all the modes once, a lot of people just dropped the game. This is the solution to that problem. Would I want a more standard Grand Prix as well? Well, yeah. But honestly, Road Trip is a bigger showcase of the beauty of Air Riders. How wacky it is, how many possibilities there are, how many playstyles there are to explore, how many in-depth mechanics there are to master. Air Riders thrives in you playing it over and over again and learning to love it. And this mode is how you get people to keep playing it so much. Wonderful stuff all around, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this and complete everything there is to offer. Speaking of... Jesus Christ, we haven't even talked about the checklist yet. The heart and soul of Kirby Air Ride is back. The checklist was the main replayability aspect of the original game, and it seems like it's doing that job and more this time around. We got a whopping 750 challenges to complete, 150 for each of the 5 tabs, 600 if you don't want to count the online challenges for the people who don't have Switch Online. That's still a big jump from the first game's 360 challenges in total, 120 for each tab. In said game, challenges were also the one and only way to unlock some of the game's unlockables, like its machines or stadium events. In Air Riders, that same magic of getting cool rewards for beating specific challenges is still here, but it also fixes some of the annoyances from the original setup. For one, Machines, alternate colors, and characters aren't tied to each mode's checklist like in the original. Thank God! Instead, if you unlock a duplicate, you will instead be rewarded with the alternate color of said character and machine. Second, there is now a shop where you can straight up buy whatever machine you want, so you aren't locked down of anything cool by just being bad at the game. A genuine complaint that some of the coolest unlockables in Air Ride like DDD or the stadium variations were behind some deviant challenges, which I can assure you 90% of the total player base for that game never beat. Third, it's now way easier to track what you did or are working towards, as in almost any menu you can break up the checklist at the press of a button. And from that checklist, you can instantly have the game set you up with the perfect conditions to attempt the challenge. And when you do complete the challenge, it will straight up tell you what you beat right there and then, instead of just having a quiet sound effect and wondering what happened. Fourth, there's now an easily accessible list of all your noteworthy rewards, excellent if you don't want to scroll through all the boxes to see if you already had the thing you were going for or not. And finally, fifth, you get a cute little art piece if you lock all the challenges of each tab. Cute! Overall, great improvements all around. Only thing I find weird is that the purple checkboxes seem to be completely gone. If you don't remember what those are, those were special checkboxes you could use to instantly complete any challenge you want. You only had 5 of them, so it was very important to know which ones you wanted to use them on. I guess because of things like the shop, this desperation of completing a specific challenge for a specific reward isn't there anymore. Guess Sakurai is telling us to stop being a just beat the challenge. And while we're talking about unlockables, my god, the customization. It's absolutely wild. Using both the shop and the checklist, you can unlock a variety of things to put on your machine. From patterns to effects to stickers to accessories, you can really make your vehicle look just like you want. And dude, all the options surrounding those are insane. We are talking about telling us the exact degree and size of our stickers. We are talking about the exact color and hue you want. We are talking about at least 10 stickers per machine, all of which can be placed and stacked anywhere. It's truly insane, and I cannot wait to see what people end up making. It seems Sakurai also want to see what people were cooking, because in the most batshit insane thing I've seen in a Kirby game, we have the Machine Market, an online marketplace where you can sell your machines with the price depending on how many people bought your rides. That's right, there's a supply and demand system in Kirby. How will this affect the Dreamland economy? Oh, did I mention you can have funny hats too? If I have to complain somewhat, the hats are a bit too generic for my liking. Don't get me wrong, there's some great additions like the Kirby Cafe chef hat, and Hydra Kabuto hat, and a halo which could be a reference to Cupid. But I feel like some other Kirby games have gone crazier with hats representing the whole series, or just overall looking cooler even if they are original. But maybe they are just hiding the really good stuff. Also, I want to slap Mark's bald ass head. But dude, how can I complain when I completely forgot the license and garage? That's another level of customization, and it will make the online experience just so much more personal and fun. Which, you know, being the master of transition that I am, let's talk about online. Fun fact for you guys, did you know the original Air Ride was one of the few GameCube games to have a LAN play? You could play with 4 other GameCubes and each player had their own screen. Now that seems like a magical setup. Well, it's a big 25, I ain't nobody doing LAN parties these days, it's all about the worldwide nets. I'm not gonna lie, I was really worried about this aspect going in. Both HAL and Sakurai have a troubled history with online, but this online looks excellent, at least the setup looks good. The main online lobby system is called the Paddock. In here, you can chill out with the homies and participate in any of the 3 modes you want. Unlike Smash Ultimate's Arena, multiple races can be activated at once. We don't know how many races can happen at once, but it's at least 3 from the looks of it. Also improving from Ultimate is the capacity of players. In the Direct, we can see about 20 people at once, but thanks to the official Twitter account, we can see that a total of 32 players will be able to join a single paddock. That way, you can have 2 full City Trial matches running at once. Even if you don't want to race, you can just hang out and use commands to tag to other players. Overall, it feels like such a cute and nice little lobby system. The paddock also connects to your garage, where you can have people check out your collection of machines, and yes, you can even customize how that looks, because of course you can. It seems like there will be multiple tiers of garage, starting with a small one that can only carry 3 machines to something that can carry 9 machines at once. Yet another unlockable to collect. Moving ahead to later in the Direct, we get a glimpse of what the online main menu looks like. It shows something called Online Match, which I assume is your standard worldwide quick match highlighted in the first Direct. Your license, paddock, local play, machine market, and a mysterious spectate mode. This last option is massive for keeping this game's online community alive. It's going to be much easier to set up tournaments and stuff like that. It sounds so easy in fact that even I might give it a try at hosting one of those. Let me know if you're interested in that. Aside from those options, there are also icons for online settings and friends. That last one sounds like a neat way to easily invite people who you play with often without having to add them to your Switch friend list. Yet another thing that will make the online space of this game more healthy. Last thing about online is the ranking system. We have both your global win power and your class. Global win power, or GWP for short, directly compares you to every other player in the world to check how many wins you have over them. Class is a more traditional online multiplayer rank system. The better you are at the game and the more you win, the higher your class will be. Interesting enough, your class will also affect certain aspects of Skya, which might make high-ranking city trial matches even more intense. Unlike Smash Ultimate, your GWP and class are not dependent on your character, but rather the mode you choose. That sounds like a very big grind. Good! It will make constantly playing the game online more fun. Interestingly enough, despite being a dedicated online menu, you can find an online matches option in each of the 3 main modes. Gets it auto-puts you into searching matches just for that specific mode. Going back to the main menu, let's analyze it for a bit. First off, it looks gorgeous. I had a small feeling it would look too much like Ultimate's main menu, which wouldn't be bad, just underwhelming. But they went in a completely different direction and I love it. It shows all the modes and options that one would want in very big and stylish icons. Just a little question. What is this events icon right here? Sakurai mentioned he had no plans for DLC, but it seems that doesn't mean the game will be completely abandoned once it releases. If I had to guess, this could be similar to Smash Ultimate's tournaments, where you are restricted to a specific theme. Or maybe it could be closer to what Mario Kart World is doing, where it gives you a set amount of time to play online matches and try to be the best performing in that little time span. Either way, excited to see what this is, but I would not expect anything crazy like a Splatfest or Sonic Crossworlds Festival. Going back to the bottom tabs, the next menu after online is the extras. Here you can see the checklist, customize your machine, play with your $50 amiibos, and look at the tutorials. Worth pointing out that this isn't the only way to watch the lessons. It's both on the main menu and you can press Y over one of the main 3 modes for a quick tutorial that looks straight out of the original game. Now that's attention to detail. Next tab after that is the collection tab. Here you can check your garage, play with your gummies, access the shop, hear the music player, watch replays, which we didn't know were in the game, so that's great to see. Check your stats and dates, which will be probably similar to Smash Ultimate stats, showing you what characters and machines you use, stuff like that. Look at movies, which I'm guessing is just rewatching cutscenes from Road Trip, and check your personal high scores and best times. There is one more mysterious option, we can only speculate what it will be. The Rivals icon. At first, I thought it was a cute way for having in-game friends, but there already is a friends option on the online tab. Also, the fact it's in the collection tabs make me think it might have to do with Road Trip. Maybe the Shadow Riders are rival and it might mean there are others like it? No idea, give me your theories. After that, the only tab we didn't fully see, the Noobs tab. We can barely peek its description, read about the latest updates. Similar to the events discussion, this might be an indicator that despite there not being DLC, there might still be support the game from time to time. And finally, the Options tab. This one is so jam-packed it got its own section on the Direct. From here you can change your in-game name, change your controls, change the display, look at the accessibility features, tweak sound, and online options. Looking more in depth to the options you can change, in the controls menu you can activate motion controls, which means tilting your controller to move, shake controls, which I'm guessing means shaking the controller to do a quick spin. You can change the meter controls to be regular or inverted, same with the camera settings, and the one I'm most excited about, quick spin. Sakurai didn't hover it sadly, so we don't know what option exactly is tied to it, but please let him map it to a button. Talking about control mappings, despite being a simple game, you still have a very robust remapping screen. Thanks to people who played the demo, we know the bumper still works as replacement for the A button, so now I'm wondering if you can map multiple buttons to each action. Either way, you can set up profiles with names like modern Smash games. Some of the most interesting options in my opinion are the accessibility options. It's such a tiny thing, but things like the color filters, font size, and guidelines are so great for more people to enjoy the game. Funnily enough, some of the people who got to play the demo at Gamescom did mention it was a bit too intense and gave them a bit of motion sickness. Good to know complaints like this one are already being addressed. The options are also super in-depth, with several sliders for things like sensibility and rotation speed. And after you set it all up, you can go for a little test drive in that area we talked about in the first direct. It was, after all, a training stage. Not only can you access it in this menu, but similarly in the character selection screen as well. This also looks to be extremely crucial for labbing and testing different machines and character combos. This game is secretly a fighting game. And looking at the sound test, we can see that at least top right will have its own test song and perhaps map, which makes sense since that's the game mode that is more different from the other two. And on the note of music, can we talk about these options? You can individually change music, sound effects, machine effects, background effects, voice volume, and the voice of the announcers themselves. Which, yeah, this game has an announcer. Multiple, in fact. Every language will have both a female and male option. Gotta appreciate how Spanish and Latin American Spanish are separated here. Means a lot to me. Also, if you were wondering who the people Sakurai highlighted were and why were they important to Kirby, well, Makiko Amuro is probably the voice you recognize the most, as she has been the main Kirby voice actor ever since Smash 64, and still is to this day. She also has voiced other characters from the series like Susie and Sectonia. Banjo Ginga, on the other hand, was the Japanese voice of the enemy sales guy in the Kirby anime, and more recently was the voice of Parallel Nightmare in Super Kirby Clash. Ryback Kacha is both of these actors' biggest roles in the franchise, so seeing them together more than 20 years later working again under Sakurai is especially cool. Talking more about the music itself, My Music from newer Smash games is back. You can choose which songs and how frequent they appear in matches. From the looks of it, you can choose just about any song in the game, and even some extra songs from other games like the ever so iconic Revenge of Meta Knight Brawl remix. From the direct, we can only see 31 songs, but I believe we will get much more as we can see the music option in the shop. Sadly, it seems only City Trial and the Paddock will have this option, but Air Right and Top Right will have alternate songs just like in the original, coming from all corners of the franchise, including Dream Buffet. I swear I cannot avoid this game for a single video. With that out of the way, there is one more thing we gotta talk about. Amiibo! Nah, it's just a joke. Instead we'll talk about gummies! Nah, okay, seriously, it's a story. Is that Sakurai actually writing a compelling story? More likely than you think. Road Trip is not only our mission mode of the game, but also our story mode. In classic Kirby Sakurai manner, the story revolves around our protagonist sensing something strange is happening and embarking on a journey to find out what's happening, uncovering the dark secrets that lie ahead. What we do get more is a brief history and lore on the relation of riders and machines. Coming from outer space, these machines landed on the planet, and only by sharing their will, the people of Popstar were able to ride them as they pleased. What also fell from the sky was the mysterious inorganic lifeform, Sora, whose wishes set off the events in motion. Interesting word in there. Wishes. The ending scene of the direct shows us Sora, just for it to go higher and higher, reaching into the Fountain of Dreams and eventually the Galactic Comet, Nova. Two very powerful objects with the ability to grant wishes. Is this finally establishing a connection between the two? They have always been linked together in small ways. Every stage of Milky Way wishes ends with the Fountain of Dreams, and according to Maulor, they were both creations of the ancients, so it would actually be great to further explore that relationship. Going back to Sora, we might feel his presence more than you think. While I don't think he is the Shadow Rider, I do believe he's a creation of Sora, just as I think all this other machinery are also related. My theory here being, what if Sora is somehow controlling an army to build a super weapon or a factory? We see a lot of little creatures carrying what appears to be big pieces of a machine. Then we see a semi-completed version of it in the middle of a wasteland. It could be that because the Air Ride machines are also related to Sora, they feel compelled to obey their command, starting the whole looking far away thing. But the rider's connection with their machines allowed them to break free of their control. And you right there, what are you doing here in the first place? Thanks to Return to Dreamland dialogue and Flying Robot Star Dream, we know there are multiple Novas out there. This could simply be another one of them, but at the same time, what if it is the same one from Superstar? While it's not canon, we do see it come back in Superstar Ultra as summoned by Meta Knight. I don't believe this is that exact Nova, as the internal gear is way more visible than it is in both Air Riders and pre-Mark's explosion. I do believe, on the other hand, that this is the one from Superstar. My proof? This new Nova is missing quite a fair few bit of items, no? With one of the most notable ones being the Pocket Watch. And oh boy, I didn't realize it before, but this damn Pocket Watch has been everywhere. As an attack from Star Dream, in the Planet Robot soundtrack, and even as an easter egg in Star Allies. floating in the space of far-flung starlight heroes, so it has to be a key element in the story somehow. Either way, Nova has to be involved in a major way towards the end. I mean, the final air ride course takes place inside Nova, so I'm expecting something big. And dude, walk with me? I have zero evidence of this next part, but what if the final legendary machine is the starship from Superstar, or some wacky variation of it at least. From a gameplay perspective, I'm more curious about seeing how the bosses come into play, and that's even if they appear on Road Trip and aren't exclusive to City Trail. The way Zero 2 rebuilds itself is especially curious to me. Maybe these aren't the real bosses, and instead illusions created by Sora. Final thing I'll say about the story is that even if this all sounds exciting, I wouldn't jump into the conclusion that this is going to be a subspace style story mode with tons of cutscenes and an ever evolving plot. At most, I'm expecting an intro, a pre-final boss cutscene, and an outro. Extra wishful thinking would be if they decided to give every character their own intro and outro, like a more traditional fighting game classic mode. The opening they showed on the direct also has a lot of weird cuts, almost like they were taken from other cutscenes and stitched together. My guess is that every character would have their own opening reaction to the machines acting weird and deciding to go on their road trip journey. After all, Sakurai does mention, everyone is the main character. Either way, this is least about anything I ever thought this game could be. I guess the Star Rod also heard my wishes. I'm beyond excited to see what's cooking here. And that about wraps up the whole analysis and my own thoughts on what we've seen so far. Last note I'm mentioning is that we will have an online demo right before release, so I better catch all of you air riders in there. I'm just so happy, man. It's the first direct filled me with joy. This one is going above and beyond. Is it sad that this might be Sakurai's last Kirby game ever? Maybe, but he went out with a bang. A true love letter to not only Air Ride, but the whole series in general. This will be my last video before release. From being cautiously optimistic to feeling like not even heaven is the limit, the pre-release hype for Kirby Air Riders has been nothing but a wonderful experience to have with you guys. But that's what I think. What are your thoughts on Kirby's Air Riders second direct? Are you excited? Did this direct solve some of the worries you had? Or were you even disappointed at some of the information shown? No matter what it is, tell me all that and more in the comments below. And while you're down there, why not hit the like and subscribe button for more videos like this one. I will be streaming the f*** out of both the demo and the main game, so you will not want to miss that. Like I mentioned before, I might even organize a tournament if people like the idea. But that's all from me, and I'll see you on the next Air Drive.